Today we bring you another episode on English grammar. Today we have some students with us. Let's talk to them and find out what is the process of learning and how are they learning, what difficulties are they facing while learning English. Hello everybody, how are you all?
I'm good, ma'am.
Right, can you tell us something about yourself?
This is Raviraj.
Okay.
Now I am preparing for competitive exams. I joined here for learning English to correct myself in grammar.
Very
That is
nice.
the thing
Very-
which brought me here.
Very nice. Ravi, are you taking any coaching?
No, I am not taking anything.
Okay. Yes. How about you?
My name is Yobu.
Okay.
I am staying at Hyderabad,
Okay.
and moreover, I am from Kadapa itself. I am
Okay.
preparing for competitive examinations.
Oh, so for that purpose,
For that
you
purpose,
have,
I
you
came
have come
here.
here. Oh, that's very good.
I wrote so many examinations. I'm not cleared. I'm not cleared cutoff in English. That's why I choose to Ramakrishna Mutt to improve my language.
Very nice. And how about you?
My name is Srinivas. I did my post graduation. I'm preparing for electronics.
Oh, so you also preparing for some entrance. All right. And then you?
I am Gyaneshwar ma'am. I am coming from Tadkal, which is located in Sangareddy district.
Okay.
I am preparing for competitive exams ma'am. I am good at maths and reasoning, but I am not facing English. For that purpose, I am joining here.
All right. So now in this competitive exams or maybe in English, what topics are you now comfortable and what topics are giving you any problems and confusions?
Correction of sentences ma'am.
Okay.
Writing. We are not able to write proper grammatical.
Okay. Yes. And
Actually, now I read perfectly in comprehension,
Okay.
and moreover, how to read the sentences,
Oh,
how to
yeah.
understand the sentences,
okay.
and moreover, I am facing little difficulty in spotting errors.
Oh, spotting the errors also. Okay.
I just want to overcome that problem.
Okay. Then for spotting the errors and his common errors, for that whatever grammar lessons have been taught to you, if you revise them for errors in prepositions or nouns and pronouns, you should be able to identify now. Of course, tenses, with the help of tenses, you can spot any error which occurs in a verb. So prepositions need some more concentration, and then other things are all right. Then when you're talking about comprehension and all, so when you are writing comprehensions or when you're writing essays, then you have to be careful because all these come with a word limit, maybe 150 words or 200 words. Then in minimum words, you have to try and write maximum ideas. For that you need different kinds of sentences. Alright, you must have heard of simple, complex and compound sentences. So you really need not remember the names, but at least you should be able to use them well and correctly. Where to use which sentence, if you are able to understand that, then any piece of writing will be very nice and you will be able to create an impact on the examiner who is reading it. So commonly we should use this combination of simple, complex and compound sentences. Complex sentences you must have heard when we make sentences and we join them with the help of subordinate
Subordinating
conjunctions, right? So though, even though, if,
Although.
very nice. Alright, then when we talk about the compound sentences, then we make compound sentences by using some coordinating conjunctions. Have you heard of coordinating conjunctions? Can you give some examples?
And
Coordinating conjunctions, right? And, but,
so that yet.
yeah. So, alright, and all these things, right. Now, third category of sentences are these simple sentences. So, simple sentences need some training because simple sentences are not that simple as simple and complex are, because we just add some conjunctions and we join them. But simple sentences need a lot of training. There are many ways through which we can make simple sentences. First thing we have to remember is simple sentences have only one subject and one predicate or one finite verb also. Are you aware of finite verbs? What are finite verbs?
Which explains action.
Alright, okay. Verb means an action, finite verb means which tells us the tense. So any verb which changes with tense, which changes with subject or the person, alright, those are the finite verb. Alright, for example, simple, when we say simple present tense and you want to say he, then you usually say he plays, he studies, alright, he works. When we change into past tense, then we say that
He
he played, he studied, he worked. So this is a finite verb because it changes. So when we say they, then we start making use of V1. But then this non-finite verbs,
No
they
need of
don't change.
tense.
They don't change with person, neither do they change with tense. So then lot of non-finite verbs are used in simple sentences. So simple sentences exhibit a higher knowledge of English. Then the examiner will understand that you have a grip over the language, or maybe you have a good command over the language. So then you have to concentrate more on simple sentences than these complex or compound. The other advantage of simple sentences, it will reduce your word limit. In less words, you will be able to express more matter. Whereas conjunctions, 2 sentences you are taking and you are using a conjunction, it doesn't help you reduce the length of the sentence. Alright, so today I will give you some knowledge of simple sentences and how you can make use of these when you are writing essays or maybe précis or whatever in the competitive exams. So just as we have discussed now, and you were also saying that simple sentences have one subject and one finite verb. It means it has one subject and one predicate. It has one subject and one predicate, and any simple sentence gives us one single thought. So you take any simple sentence, it will give us one single thought. For example, if we want to say, the flowers are fresh. So as you can see here, where is the subject here? Right, the flowers. This is the subject, and the predicate?
Are fresh.
Right, are fresh. After the verb, the rest of the part of the sentence is a predicate. And what is the status of this are? Is it a finite or non-finite verb? It's a finite verb. How can we say that?
The flowers are.
Right, here the subject is plural, so this is plural. Right, if I remove this s, then can the verb remain or we have to change?
The flower is fresh.
Yeah, then for the flower it should be is. Alright, if you want to say yesterday,
The flowers
Was.
are.
the flower was. And again if I say flowers,
Were.
right, again we make it into this were. So that is the definition of a finite verb. They change with tense, so do they change with number, singular or plural. Alright, but that doesn't happen in the case of the non-finite verbs. Now when we say simple sentences, there are many ways through which we can form simple or single sentences. So the first one, let us see, is participle. So with the help of these participles, we can join 2 or more single sentences into one simple sentence. Participles are used when the sentences have same subject, and when we are talking about the action which is happening at the same time. So the action must happen at the same time, and then the sentences must have the same subject. Participles we can say in the sense of being, we can say having, yes, very nice. We can have a V4, and alright, we can also have having and been. Alright, having and V3. So these kind of verbs, they come under this participle, and now we can make use of them. For example, as I told you, here 2 things you have to remember, that the sentences must have the same subject. The subject must be same and the action must be continuous. Alright, means almost happening at the same time. For example, you can say, now here there are 2 sentences. I'm in class and I understand the topic. Now this am gives us the indication of a be form verb. Alright, so then we can take this being. Alright, so then we can remove this, we can say being.
Being in the class.
Yes, very nice. Being in class, I understand the topic. Here also, then I is the subject, and being in the class, understand the topic, all this becomes the predicate. Alright. So we have to remember the basic of be form rule. What is be form? Status or position, who you are and what you are. So where are you? I am in the class. Now when we see this have, where do we make use of have? Possession. Very nice. So something which you own, something which belongs to you. Okay. Now I want to say that they have some money, they bought a car. So they have some money, they have bought a car. The rule of participle is no two subjects, no two finite verbs. So again, one we have to keep on removing and we have to manage with one subject, one verb. So then how can we change this?
Having some money, they bought a car.
Very nice. So then because possession, we can talk about this having. And we can say having some money, they bought a car. Now let's see the example of this V4. So here also both the sentences have the same subject I and two actions at almost at the same time. Alright, open the cupboard and take out a shirt. So now we have to combine this.
Opening the cupboard,
I took out a shirt.
Right, so every time we have to remove at least one subject. Alright, and this one verb we can change into ing. And to show that or to say that, opening the cupboard, I took out a shirt. Yeah. Now, the other point to remember with participle is here we cannot make use of different subjects because as I have been saying, all participles whenever you want to use these, then they must have same subject. If the subjects are different, then we have to go for other methods. We cannot continue with this method. Now for example, if I want to say somebody knocked at the door, she opened it. Now the case of this ing, how we were talking, similarly if we want to say knocking at the door, she opened it. Would it be correct? Would it be correct to say like this?
No,
Why not?
because here
Because here it means she knocked the door, but actually what is the sentence?
Somebody is
knocked
there.
the door. So now here the subject of this sentence is somebody, but then the subject of this sentence is she. But then the rule for the participle is
same subject.
we must have the same
subject.
subject. So then this kind of examples we cannot take. Though if the example is like this, we have to adopt some other method. We cannot put it on the participle. Okay, do you understand? Is it clear? So this being and having and V4 we use when we talk about that between the two actions there is very less or actions are almost happening at the same time. So when the actions happen like that, we make use of these three. But when we want to say that one action has completed, then the other action has taken place. So when the actions happen one after the other, then we have to make use of this having plus V3, then we cannot make use of any of these three. So then we have to go with this having plus V3. For example, she ironed the clothes, she put them on the rack. Now can these two actions happen simultaneously?
One after other.
Yeah, first she has to iron the clothes, alright, then she has to put all the clothes on the rack. So now we want to say that one action completed after the other action happened. So then for this kind of an example, then we have to make use of this having plus V3. So then how can this sentence be converted?
Having
ironed the clothes, she put
Right. So then she and this iron, this we change into having and V3. In the place of she we write having, and iron we can retain. So having ironed the clothes, she put them on the rack. So to say that this happened first, and then after this action she went on to do this action. Alright. If I want to say the teacher explained the lesson, the teacher explained the lesson, the teacher conducted the test.
having explained
the teacher.
Having explained the teacher, Ganeshwar, the teacher explained the lesson, the teacher conducted a test.
having explained
explain the
Explain the
conducted
Right, or having explained the lesson, the teacher conducted the test. So here want to say the first teacher explained the lesson, then later she conducted a test or the exam. Very nice. Alright, now this is being plus V3. When we say being plus V3, we must have again some be form verb in the sentence. Alright, for example, he was pulled up by the boss, he quit the job. So this action happened first, and then after that this action happened, and then the subject is same. Alright. Now you see here, this is was pulled up. Do you know the meaning of pulled up? Do you know? Or can from the sentence can you guess?
Scolding.
Very
Scolded
nice,
by.
louder. Scolded.
Scolded by.
Very nice. So pulled up means scolded. So now because he was scolded by the boss, he quit the job. This pulled up is a phrasal verb. In writing, you can also make use of idioms and phrasal verb. They only beautify your language. Okay, so then he was pulled up by the boss, he quit the job. So now this was is there, alright, and then we can make use of this being. So what would we say?
Being pulled
being
Yes,
pulled up by the boss.
Right, so this will go. Here we have to write being pulled up by the boss, he quit the job. Alright, otherwise for any passive sentence, this having plus V3 can be changed into passive to say that having and been and V3. This sentence can also be written as in this passive voice, because this is passive. So either you can say being, we have an option, we can use this.
Having
Very
plus
nice,
been.
having been.
Having been pulled up by the boss, he quit the job.
Right, having been pulled up by the boss, he quit the job. Right. So because this is passive, we can also make use of this. If another example, if I want to say, the match was the interview was cancelled. All the candidates went back home.
being cancelled the interview.
Having been cancelled. Sorry, ma'am. Could you repeat?
The interview was cancelled. All the candidates went back home.
Having been cancelled
Having
the
been-
interview, all the
All the candidates go back.
You forgot the basic principle. Okay, went home or went back, we can say. The match
interview
was
having
cancelled.
been cancelled, all the candidates went back.
Went back.
being
No.
Two different
Two different subjects. Are, there are two
right.
different
So
subjects.
here we have two different subjects. This is interview and this is all the candidates. But we have been following the norm of same subject, he and she and she. So in this case of, as he said, when there are two subjects, you need to mention both. So then this will take a subject, the interview having been cancelled, and then the rest of the sentence, all the candidates went back. Right? So there are some more ways of making simple sentences. We will continue this in the next episode.